All right, I've got a hutch, it looks like. Y'all see it right there? I can't believe it. Hey guys, and welcome back to Adventure Archaeology. If you're new to the channel, my name is Brandon, and today we've got a couple of things planned. First off, I'm going to spend some time in this creek right here searching for valuable antique bottles. If it does not pan out and I don't find something good, then I'm going to be heading southward to meet up with Casey to search the old plantation that we have permission on with the metal detectors. So y'all hang in there and let's go see what we can find. All right guys, so this has been a hot spot in the creek this year. Right over here along this side, I found a crown top elk. Right here, I found a pioneer. Right there, Randy found an Opelika Alabama hutch this year. And right around that bend up there, my wife found her first water hutch. So I'm hopeful that in this stretch that we're gonna find something. Now I'm gonna show y'all right down here though, this is what makes this time of year so difficult, is that brown moss that you see that's growing on the bottom. That makes it incredibly hard to spot the bottles, and it's just something that you have to learn to deal with. That's okay though, because we're gonna take it one stride at a time, take our time, see if we can come up with something good. And if we don't, we do have a really excellent place to go metal detect like I mentioned earlier. So I have recently been contacted by a rather large YouTube channel. They have around 10 million subscribers, and they're gonna remain nameless until we nail down if we're gonna collaborate or not. I've been invited to New Orleans though to take part in an antique bottle hunt with them, and they don't really know what they're looking at. So they wanted me to come down with them and see if what they're looking at is actually old enough to make a good video. And one of the sell points for this particular creator was they wanted me to explain why antique bottles is something good for them to make videos about. And honestly, I never thought about why, because it's just something that I've always done. And I know some people, like myself, we really appreciate the history and the beauty. But if you're new to the hobby, probably one of the things that appeals the most to new people that are new to this is the value of the bottles. That may be a bottle. No, that's a brick. All I'm looking for is shapes right now. So value keeps continuing to pop up in the conversation with every single new person that gets into this hobby. Now, without making it, I guess you would say, a hobby that you don't want to get into, most bottles aren't worth a ton. You have to find some pretty rare stuff for it to be incredibly valuable. Now, we're talking about monetarily, obviously, but history-wise, it's all very valuable. Now, I think I've addressed this in past videos, but to me, it's really just been a very wholesome hobby that keeps me mentally stable, because there's nothing quite like wading down the creek to ease your mind, especially if you're stressed out. Now, we may be digging some privies in New Orleans while we're at it. I actually contacted someone that I know down there, and he may be able to put us on some of the oldest bottles that we have ever found. So I'm pretty excited regardless to see whether or not this whole collaboration comes to fruition in December. If it does, we should have some excellent content for you guys. And I'm beyond stoked to have the opportunity to work with this particular creator, because he could expose the antique bottle world to millions and millions of people. Now that's a very, very good thing. And it's also could be a very bad thing. And what I mean by that is, if people don't treat the hobby right and act right, and they start trespassing or damaging other people's land, or in general just being greedy about the entire situation, then it could cause more harm than good. So I've kind of just been on the fence about it, weighing all the options. Y'all let me know, what do you think? Should I collaborate with a 10 million subscriber channel? Honestly, my gut tells me that it's a fantastic thing because of how many people it will expose the hobby to, like I said. And selfishly, it could grow my channel substantially. So more than likely it'll happen, but I would love to hear y'all's feedback and see if y'all think that I should avoid it. And I like hearing everybody's opinions that watches this channel currently, because without y'all, we definitely wouldn't be where we're at. So enough rambling. I'm going to turn the camera off for a minute, make our way on up here. So far, all I'm seeing is modern trash and leaves. And that's kind of typical for this time of year, and that's why you're going to see a couple more metal detecting videos over the next few weeks until the leaves wash out of the bottom of the creek. So let's see if we can find something up here. All right guys, you see the bottle right there? You can tell by looking that it's going to be a hobble skirt. That water is freezing, and I left my grabbers in my other truck. Let's see how old this one is. This is going to be a Pat D. Let's see if it's got a date code on it anywhere that I can see. Doesn't look like it, but this one is going to be from Birmingham, Alabama. And this is one of those common bottles that I was telling y'all about that's not worth a ton. Worth a couple bucks, make a little bit of gas money back, and we'll get it out of the water so it's cleaning up the environment. But overall, this is not what you want to find. So I'm hopeful that we're going to find something a little bit older than that. Let's keep going. All right, I see something right there. All you can see is just barely the side. Let's see. I mean, just barely peeking out. That would have been an RC Cola. There again, this is probably going to be in that same age range as that Coke that we just found. So not quite old enough. We're talking about 50s and 60s stuff here. We're looking for stuff that's about 50 years older than that. Now, when you're in the creek and you kind of see the bank over here and you can kind of see the layers in it, a lot of people have been curious as to what that is. And some people even thought that that may be like a town dump, but that's not what that is. As the years have passed, this creek bank has moved in and out a lot of different times. So at one point the creek was actually over there, and that may have been the very bottom bed of the creek. So it's always a good idea to look in the seam that you see on the creek bank walls, because that was the original bed or sidewall of the creek, and bottles very possibly could be lodged in that layer that you see. So back on the subject of collaborating with other channels, I've never really had a giant collaboration. I've always stuck with channels that were around the same size as mine, and part of that is, I guess, being prideful. I never wanted anybody to think that I grew my channel based upon just collaborations and people handing me their subs. So I've always just kind of stuck with the same crowd of guys, and you know, between Exploring Alabama, History Seekers, Gone Digging, and Wild Kyle, Sidestep Adventures, those guys, and Zach Bird, those are the guys that I've really collaborated with, and we're all in the same niche and all kind of do the same things, so it was easy for us to do that. And we all live in the Southeast. Now, what I would like to do though is I would like to do kind of a mini poll and ask y'all if there was anybody that you could see us collaborate with on this channel, who would you like for us to collaborate with if we've never collaborated with them? I'm just curious to see if there's maybe a channel that I've never heard of or something along those lines that maybe y'all know of that I don't, that would be a good fit for us to collaborate, that does around the same thing, that maybe has similar personalities. Y'all let me know in the comments below. There again, just super curious to hear what you guys have to say. I'm pretty excited. I just pulled this out of the bottom right here. This is a 10, 2, and 4 Dr. Pepper. It is what you call debossed, which just means that the letters are lower than the actual glass on the outside instead of being embossed, which is raised lettering. And I know that this is broken, but I have a ton of people that are in a waiting list to get these for drinking glasses. So here's going to be an awesome drinking glass whenever it's completed. I'm happy to get it. This one doesn't have a talent on it, but that's okay. There's no chips or cracks in the bottom, and Nick will be able to cut it right there above that, and we'll be able to keep a really nice piece of history. This may be the first one of these you've ever seen on this channel. This is a flask, and sadly it's broken, but that would have been what's called a pumpkin seed flask. It would have been shaped more round than the typical ones that you see that I find that are rectangular. Sadly, it's unembossed and it is broken, but man, I would have loved to have found that hole, just because that's not something that I typically find. Nice early bottle, probably between 1890 and 1910 if I had to guess. All right, I've got a hutch, it looks like. Y'all see it right there? I can't believe it. It is very, very deep right here. And I left all of my grabbers and stuff in my other truck. So I'm gonna do a little bit of a rake it ever so gently. We're gonna rake it upstream where I don't lose it in a cloud of muck. It looks shaped a little bit longer than my last one. I could be wrong. And it looks clear. I'm very hopeful for something different. It's been a while since I found something other than an elk. So I'm hopeful on this one that it's going to be something that either I've never found, maybe even a coke hutch. Wouldn't that be crazy? Wouldn't that be crazy? All right, here we go. It's the moment of truth. Oh, it's a camel. I got a freaking camel, guys. It does have a chipped lip up there, but hey, I've never found a camel hutch. Clayton has, and I found a camel crown top. But there you go. Right there, guys. Camel hutch. It just shows that the persistence pays off. And man, I'm excited to have that. As I was walking though, I passed right here something that looked like a jug maybe. Oh, and that would have been just a more modern flower pot. Let's get back to looking at this hutch. Man, I'm excited about that, guys. You can see that that is a 2-hump camel, maybe, if the light will let you. You can see that the camel has 2 humps. And the rare one is a single hump mug base, which means the bottom would look like a beer mug. But that one has the original stopper in it, even with a chipped lip. That's a fantastic find. I don't think I'm going to cut that one into a drinking glass just because you can still tell that it's a hutch with that top. But wow, that's killer, guys. Let's keep going. Maybe I will find another one. One thing I'll say is most of the time these are not heavily embossed, and this one is. I mean, it is very heavily embossed. I am super excited about that, guys. I'm telling y'all, it has been a good couple of weeks here in Alabama for finding amazing pieces of history. And that's not a chip right there, that's an air bubble in the glass. This is probably right around 1901 to 1902. All right, guys. We found a hutch that I never found before. I'm excited about that, but it's time to go meet Casey and go so we can find something metal detecting. Let's get over there and see what we can find. All right, guys, me and Casey have made it out here to the spot that he's been telling me about. This road bed that you kind of see right here to the right is one of the original road beds here in our area that actual Civil War soldiers traveled. So he came out here, he did a little bit of spot hunting with the Apex and found some interesting items. And we literally just turned the detectors on, and I had a signal right down here, and I just dropped it and it's buried in the leaves someplace. Let's see where it went. There it is, it's over here. Yeah, there it is, sorry about that. So it happens when you throw it down into these nice brown leaves, but I don't know what that is. It almost looks like some kind of buckle plate, but it could be something off of an early electronic, something like a clock or something, I don't know. But we'll take it, and I'm hopeful today that maybe we turn up something that we've never found on the channel, and that will be something related to the Civil War or one of the old home sites that used to be here from the 1860s. All right, I got a scratchy signal on the Max, and just pop this out right here. That is going to be a shotgun head stamp. It was actually a really high reading shotgun shell. I first saw that ring or the outside rim, I thought that it was a ring. That's okay though, it looks like it's gonna be a UMC, so it's an older one. All right, I for sure got a buckle this time. It's an iron buckle, and it's definitely probably from the time period that we're looking for.
Oh yeah.
You can see that the center tang part is still there, it's rusted in place. I wish it would have been brass, but it definitely rang up good enough for me to dig it up. So that's a good sign though. I mean, we're really finding some relics from probably either the houses or the soldiers. I don't know if that's quite old enough to be soldiers or not, but it's definitely what we're looking for. It's got this hammerhead. Can't tell how old it is either. It looks to be an older shape or design, maybe right around the turn of the century. That's just a guess though. We're still on the relics though. Come on, coins, they gotta be here someplace. All right, so we're still on that 4,000 acre permission, and there's multiple house sites all around it. This right here may be one of the newer house sites, but that's okay because we're actually able to locate it. You can see the remnants of what would have been the chimney right here, and there's tons of 1930s bottles on here. And according to the research that Casey did, it looks like the house was standing in 1939, and then it basically was gone by the 1940s. So in a matter of 10 years, something happened. Either a tornado got it, a house fire, or just the sheer age of it caused it to collapse the Alabama humidity is not kind, and back then they didn't have pressure treated wood, so a lot of times the stuff just did not survive. But there's a ton of trash around here from the 30s, 40s era. You can tell by the mason jar lids and tops that are scattered all across the ground. It's pretty trashy, but that's typical for an old home site. You can see the columns that were underneath the bottom. What makes me think that this is more modern, probably between 1900 and 1939, is the fact that it does have brick columns underneath it and not rocks. So if it would have been just rocks, now don't get me wrong, there is rocks under here that would have been part of the foundation, but if it was just solely rocks, then it would be a much older home site. And it's getting like more clear.
It's breaking up.
It's a coin. Look at that. It's gonna be a tax token, I'm pretty sure.
Oh man.
Yep, that's a tax token.
You kidding me?
No, it should be an Alabama one. Huh. Let's see.
How's that make you feel?
Well, we've been chasing it all day. I mean,
I had a feeling it was gonna be something good. I was like, I'm gonna record it just in case.
well, I mean, we just found it, and we probably don't have another hour, but that's okay. We'll come back another day.
Oh yeah.
And finish it
Let's
up.
check that thing out. Let's see if we get it.
I don't think you're gonna be able to clean it up, but you can tell with the hole in the center that that was a tax token.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah, we'll clean it up though and get a better picture we can show y'all whenever it's
Now, what was a tax token? What was that for?
honestly, it was like to divide cents or something like that. I really don't know the full scope of what they were. I know we find them a lot, but usually where we find these, we find silver.
Oh, that's even a better thing.
So,
awesome.
Maybe we'll find some. All right, here's a plow point. It was out here to the side. Just shows that they were farming at some point on this incredibly dense wooded area now. It's a good sign though. We'll keep on going. We're finding the relics, just not finding the coins. That's kind of typical for Alabama though, as they were incredibly broke after the Civil War. So hopefully we'll find something really good here in a few minutes. All right, guys, somehow I lost some of my footage from my camera. I'm not sure how I managed that. But what happened is we actually found a second home site that we did not have time to metal detect. Now, we didn't have a ton of time to metal detect the house that we were at before that had the brick column and the brick fireplace that the tax token came from. So we've got a really good place to go back and check. Now, what's interesting is those tax tokens were only in Alabama from like the 1930s to the 1940s. So we know that that house is probably used up till around 70 years ago, something like that, 70 to 80 years ago. So there's a chance for some silver there. Now, what is kind of disheartening is the fact that there's no plumbing or electric ran to that home, which means that it was probably a poorer family that lived there. So I don't know if they would have lost anything of value because back then they were pretty frugal, but we're going to go back and double check. We also think that we may have located a couple of privies on site, so we're excited to check those out with the probe. Now, with all of that being said, I wanted to go ahead and invite everybody that may be new to the channel to be sure that you hit the subscribe button where you don't miss our future adventures. Now, before we end the video, I do want to tell y'all about an app I found this week. And no, this is not a sponsored video, so don't click off. This will actually save y'all some money because that's why I'm telling you about it. It's called Get Upside. Now, I'm going to leave a link below in the video description. I'm going to try to pin a comment as well. But basically what Get Upside is it's like an app you run on your phone if you've got a smartphone, and you can actually select gas stations. And I drive a ton. I drive like 40 to 50,000 miles a year, and I spend a ton on gas when it comes to relic hunting. So I'm always looking for ways to save money. Now on this app, you can select gas stations and it'll tell you how much money you'll get cash back, and it adds up. So like this week I had to fill my truck up twice, which is around 44 gallons. And on 44 gallons of gas, I got around $6 back. Now that doesn't sound like a lot, but hey, $6 is $6 back in my pocket that I can buy some lunch with, or, you know, maybe a bottle. Only joking. Anyways, I just figured I'd tell y'all about it because I know a lot of y'all are relic hunters like I am, and you know, at any time that you're spending money on your hobby, it gets expensive pretty quick. So, you know, any little bit of cash helps without a doubt. Anyways, I guess we're going to go ahead and turn the camera off. I'll quit rambling today, and we'll catch you guys in the next adventure.